Sambuli Vinaka, and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And we've got our guest in the studio today. Well, he's not a stranger. We've had him before, and we are really appreciative of the fact that he has taken out the time to be with us today. And this is the Assistant Minister for the Ministry of Women, Children, and, well, anyway, you may correct me on that. Dr. Josefa Korevueta, the Assistant Minister, is that right?
No, Luis, it's just a correction. I'm a Permanent Secretary
to
the Ministry, and I'm deputizing for the Honorable Madam Minister.
Well, thank you so much for that. But anyhow, this is what we're talking about, the first phase of the Fijian government's national rebuilding effort after Cyclone Winston, which includes the Help for Homes initiative. So, yes, how was the idea of the Help for Homes initiative brought up, Dr. Korevueta?
The initiative is that of the Honorable Prime Minister. It's a very noble, very divine, very appropriate, and also a timely initiative. The initiative was launched on the 9th of April this year, and basically it's a initiative to provide people who had their homes that have been destroyed, affected by the tropical cyclone Winston, with opportunity or ability to purchase hardware materials, those that were certified by the engineers or recommended by the engineers for that matter, that they were able to build their house now, wherever their houses would be, whether it's Viti level, within the 12 affected areas, or within on the maritime, but certainly under the theme that building back better homes, building homes that are safer, building homes that are able to last or endure, the future coming cyclone threats.
Yes, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because, I mean, after Cyclone Winston, it was really terrible, the amount of damage that was caused to homes. So what does the Help for Homes initiative involve for those whose houses were damaged during Cyclone Winston?
Yeah, we were given this initiative to lead. And the reasoning behind it was that it's a form of welfare support provided to people below the income of $50,000. And it's only provided to those who are private homeowners.
I see.
So we do not cover, in this initiative, churches are not covered, community halls are not covered, schools are not covered, government quarters or government institutions are not covered, and even business premises. So it's really the privately owned dwelling houses, whether it's on the whether it's within the municipality or whether it's within settlements, whether it's in the Itoke villages or even Itoke settlements.
And you've said that they have to be earning 50,000 below.
Exactly. For
each house. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how much money will be used for the Help of Homes initiative?
The initial budget conveyed to us, and this is what we are working within, is the initial budget of 70 million Fijian dollars.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, when I thought about it, I don't think this has ever been done to this magnitude ever in this country.
Yeah, this is the very first ever to happen in our country.
That's wonderful. Yes, and I'm sure a lot of people eager. Has it begun already?
It has begun. It's begun on Friday.
Okay.
The Honorable Prime Minister was in FNCDP to see at hand what was the reality at the centers. There's a number of teams that are involved in the processing, so it's not an issue about your card. You come, you have your cards, and you're given right away.
Okay.
We need to go through a verification process. That means we work. What we are guided from is this NDMO master list, and this is the list that we work in. So whether in Boa, whether it's the Kaunrove, whether it's in Tavioni, Tavioni, or whether it's Ra, Tailevu, Tavu, Amba, Lautoka, or Yasawa, it's all in the reference check to the master list.
I see. So this verification process, I know, must be screened well, because you never know that some people do try to beat the system. But yeah, on this, they get cards, right? Electronic cards?
That's right.
Which are specially used in, is it the 10 different hardwares that have been appointed?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, Louise, the system, the processing or the procedure itself is very simple. If your name is on a list, and you've filled in the form most appropriately, and you've got a valid photo ID, then you don't have to wait. Okay, but we did find there was some teething issues on the ground in places like Ndao Samu, simply because the signal strength for Vodafone system to work was weak in that area.
I see.
So it took a bit of time. So we've learned from that, even in Namosau Primary School as well. So these were the learning issues that we take on board to ensure that the next centers are fully surveyed, and that we go in there, that it's fully operationalized, so that we don't want people to be waiting for long. One of the things that Honorable PM mentioned in his speech, that we do, that people should not wait for long.
Okay.
But, you know, ground reality is different.
Yes, I can imagine. It must be a lot of work. But we'll be back shortly. Sure. Dr. Koroi Vueta, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation on Speak Your Mind. We're back on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is your only classic hits radio station in Fiji. Thank you a lot for your company. A live radio talkback, but we do have the delayed coverage shown on FBC TV. And we continue with our discussion with our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Josefa Koroi-Vueta, who is from the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation. We're talking about the wonderful Help for Homes initiative. And as we've said, you've been giving out these electronic cards, Dr. Koroi-Vueta. So how many have you given out so far? Or roundabout, roughly?
I don't have the exact figures with me, Louise, but after day 2, we hit 10 million. We spent $10 million by day 2. Wow. I think so far now, the interim figures that we are reaching 17 to 20 million. Yeah.
This is fantastic. So they use these cards, and it has a time limit, doesn't it?
That's right.
From the time it's issued?
Yeah. The card should be redeemed by the end of June.
Okay.
And the card gives the gives that flexibility, you know, for beneficiaries to shop any of the 9, any of the 10 hardware.
Yes.
Okay, so, and the big ones are Vinod Patel, RC Manubai, Carpenters, those are the big ones, and Kasabia, those are the big ones.
Yes.
Then you got Arun's hardware in Ra as well. And I know that they've been going out of the way to ensure that, you know, their services reach out people in places where they don't have an outlet.
Right.
What we worked at is that we have the Vodafone machines in the existing retail outlets they have right around the country with that. So it gives them that ability, you know, to buy the hardware materials.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there is also a word of caution that we have sent out to people during the registration process, you know, even before, that we wanted to flag to people, and people need to be informed that is a new law that's just been passed by Parliament more than a week ago. It's called the False Information Act 2016, which clearly articulates that anyone found to be providing false information to the government to gain government assistance or benefit will be subject to either money, to the penalties, to be subject to penalties.
Yes.
And it ranges from 10,000 up to 20,000, 5 years up to 10 years.
Well, there you go. So don't think of it to be trying to beat the system just to get that cash for nothing. But just another thing about the cards. How many people? How do the people apply for it? Did it come? How did it come out again?
Okay, it's very simple. If we work according to the NDMO list. For example, if you come and your name is on the list, Louise, all you just need to bring to us is a valid photo identification. So it could be a voter electronic registration card, it could be a FNPF, it could be a passport, or for those who are social welfare beneficiaries, even their IDs.
Okay.
That suffice. Even a driving license, that will be. And even those who are above 60 and who's got the social welfare bus fare card,
Okay.
that's good enough. So
Good
it's a
enough
valid
ID.
photo ID. But those that have lost, their voter registration card, probably during the cyclone, then all we ask is please bring along your birth certificate. At the center, there is a Fiji election office desk at every center
Right.
that they will be able to replace your voter registration card.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Dr. Koroivueta. Now, we've spoken about how people have been warned not to try to beat the system, but what about the hardware companies also? What if they fail to follow the terms and contracts of the agreement? What will happen to that company?
Yeah, they are bounded by the contract that they have signed, with the government, and clearly it stipulates there. Should they fail to comply with the contract, that will lead to immediate termination of the contract.
I see. So, what would be your advice, Dr. Koroivueta, to the recipients of the Help for Homes initiative to do?
The initiative, like I said, is very noble. It's given out with a clear conscience that this is to benefit people who have lost their homes, affected, and help them rebuild back their homes. It's for them, it's for their children, it's for their families, it's for now, and it's also for the future. And just to do it with honesty. I think the initiative also came in because the government felt that there was quite an air of dishonesty that was tending to prop up within the society. People were not honest, people lacked integrity, accountability, and we need to move Fiji away from that.
Exactly.
So this is one of the instruments put in place basically to move us into the right area.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So, I mean, just no cheating, and Fiji will grow together
That's right.
from both sides, from people who
We
have
need
cards.
to propagate the culture of honesty. There are other living examples now, I think, of some European countries where honesty is a big brand for them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not what we can say for our country right now, but I'm sure, with given us time, given with instruments like this in place and proper teaching, we can return us back.
Yeah, that's the problem. We always have a few bad apples, but I'm sure that they'll be caught
Sure.
this time round. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to tell about the electronic cards that you're using for the Homes Initiative?
Yes, for the members of the public listening in, these cards cannot be redeemed for cash.
Right.
You have to spend up to the limit. If you don't, then you don't get anything back in return. Now, we have also advised, there's some people who are asking us, you cannot buy electronic goods or white goods with these cards. It's just a building or hardware materials.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I think there was a flurry of callers over the weekend. Can I buy this? Can I buy that? I said, no, it's for your home material, so not electronic goods
Yes.
or white goods.
And the good thing about it too is that how the duty has been exempted for
Exactly.
certain things from hardware right up until the end of this month, right? That's fantastic. So, what sorts of stuff can they give out under this duty exemption? Would be like timbers.
Yes, and also with this initiative, by the time the beneficiaries get the card, they're also given a information booklet, Louise.
Oh.
Now, in the booklet, it specifies who are the retailers and what is their price list.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
you have the catalog right in front of you. Even it informs you or guides you how to safely build a house.
Wow.
And this has been put together by the Fiji Institute of Engineers. So there's been a number of players who came in to give us, the product that we're now talking about.
And I must say, wonderfully constructed. But we'll be back for more on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And we have with us the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroivueta, and we're discussing about what you need to know about what the government has been doing, and this is about the Help for Homes initiative. Now, I know that it is for those who whose household annual income falls below 50,000. But Dr. Josefa Korivueta, the amount on the electronic card will depend on the amount of damage to people's homes?
Yes, you're very correct, Eloise. It depends on the severity of the damage. And the severity is based on the severity of the roofing damage. So whether it's a partial roofing damage, a severe roofing damage, and it's a completely destroyed house, total destruction. For partial, it's 1,500. For severe, it's 3,000. And completely destroyed is 7,000. For those in the informal settlements or the other ETOK settlements, clearly it's 1,500 that applies to all, irrespective whether it's a partial, severe roofing damage, or completely destroyed house. That's the guiding advice that has been given to us.
Okay, so well, like you said, it's all in the booklet that you're going to hand out. I mean, you have made it so simple for everyone.
Yeah, we had made a test run, but on the ground, we made a live run of the system before we put it out into the field. And the live run was actually demonstrated to the Honorable Prime Minister, and he was he was quite satisfied with us. He warned us of some of the issues that we were going to face on the ground, but those were reality. We found it out in one way or the other, in one center and from the other center.
Right.
But it's a matter of giving right advice to people there and then, because people came with different expectations.
I see.
Some came saying 7,000 not enough to build a house. Why people are giving me this? Some said, you know, can I use this money to build my house, not in the property that I'm on now, but in another property outside of the affected area. So these were the different concerning issues that were coming to people. But, you know, just addressing them rightfully, we were able to respond.
Okay, so you have to deal with all these sorts of queries.
We expected. We expected.
Yeah, so
generally speaking, Louise, people were very appreciative.
Yeah.
You know, the time it was given, the initiative, the reasons behind it.
Yeah.
They were very appreciative. But of course, you cannot please everybody.
Well, I should think they should be appreciative, but as you were saying, which was really interesting, how the Fijian government has been working with the engineers really in the right direction, trying to get this right, because of you know, the damage that Cyclone Winston caused was absolutely devastating.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, gosh, this is what you're doing to help the people.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, this is for you listening in right now. This is a live radio talkback on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Well, we have 3220907 as the direct number to call if you'd like to ask Dr. Josefa Korivueta any questions regarding this Help for Homes initiative, or if you have a Digicel phone, 7732907. So, I mean, now construction companies, they've been told to just be up to international standards.
Yes. I think if you look at the hardware stores in the last few days, you'll see a queue now. I think there's quite a big business activity happening in all the approved vendors right now. And I think they're working their efforts out basically to ensure that the demand is met.
Okay, so about the $70 million, how did we come up with this money to be able to help everyone? I mean, I know it must be aid, but I'd rather hear it from you.
Okay, when we looked at the NDMO list, that was what the government had provided for the time being.
Right.
And clearly it was the initial phase that we're dealing with.
Okay.
But if you look at the total cost for the damage, the initial costing, looking at more than 30,000 houses, you know, right across the 12 priority affected areas, it's much more than that. It's about 2.5 times that value. But those are the financial costs.
Okay. So, I mean, I believe that the cards that you give out, they're free to use it, as there will be competition, obviously, between the 10 hardware companies,
certainly,
yes?
Louise, certainly.
So, I suppose the advice to them to shop smart.
Absolutely. You got it there. That's why we decided to give them the booklet so that they make wise decisions.
Wow.
So they have all the price there from all the different retailers. So it's a matter of selecting which hardware they need to go to.
Too easy. So how did you come up with this wonderful booklet? But hang on, I think I've got... oh, well, I just missed that call. But anyway, how did you come up with this brilliant idea of, providing all the information there for the people of Fiji?
We had the responsibility to the people to provide them with the right information, the right advice. And the team had worked collectively or collaboratively. We had the Ministry of Information Board. Then we also had the Shelter Cluster, which was a group that operated under NDMO, under TC Winston.
Yes.
And those were all the ground-based information that was made available to the team.
Yeah.
So the information was there, is basically packaging them all together.
That's great. But Dr. Korivut, I have a caller on the line, and we'll just find out who it is. Hello, Gold FM. This is Speak Your Mind. How may I help you?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask you, doctor, what's in Namboa? When is time to distribute this order? Cards.
Okay. We've seen on the list, thank you, bro. We've seen on the list that some of the houses outside the 12 areas were also listed down. And that includes some of the squatter settlements in Suva, included Nandronga Navosa, it included Nandi, Malolo, and even in Senganga. So the decision was we only cover those that are in the 12 priority affected areas now. There would be a program later on, but for this time and for now, it's just those that are within the 12 affected areas.
Vinaka, Dr. Korivut, and I hope that answers your question, and you're most welcome to call 77320907 if you have a Digicel phone. This is a live radio talkback. We have a delayed coverage shown on FBC TV, and our direct line 3220-907. We'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. We continue with our talkback, and that is with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation. And we are talking about the Help for Homes initiative. We've just had a caller, so yes, if you have any question that you'd like to ask, our Digicel number is 77320907, or if you have a direct line, 3220-907. Now, Dr. Korivut, what about if there may be others who haven't had their properties officially assessed? Do these Fijians also are welcome to apply to receive the electronic cards?
Yes, they are welcome to apply. They can come into any of the registration centers or processing centers and fill in the form. If their name is not on the form, they should not be discouraged. We will accommodate, but how it works is there will be a team that will go out to inspect their property before the card. So practically they won't be given any card on that day, but certainly they will be attended to once their house has been inspected.
Oh, that's very interesting. Like you said, you are depending on the public to be honest about what they're doing, but it's good that you have a team that will actually go and check. That'll be the safest thing to do, I reckon.
Exactly, Louise. Also from today, from the Ministry of Finance is sending out audit teams already.
I see.
Because we had been announced that as part of the program, we will be going out to audit that people have been honest with what they have bought, and they've been put into play. They have actually built their houses with what they have bought. We know we've already marked some people that we felt very strongly that we should now, flag down for monitoring.
Yeah,
right down based on the behavior.
Yeah.
Based on the suspicion that we had on the days of registration.
Oh, that's good that you have that. Yes.
We also had on the registration centers. We have the Turani Koro. We also have the advisory counselors, and in the central. We have the engineers on the site. So we deal with it right away.
Wow.
At the operations center, at the registration center.
Yes, that's very good. But, I can't get over the engineers. I mean, they are going to make sure that when the home is built, it's going to be cyclone proof. Is that right?
That's right. Also, the engineers have been given a directive by the Honorable Prime Minister to go out and reassess all the initial assessment under NDMO. So that's reassessment of 30,000 homes, basically to ensure that the severity of damage confirms to the new criteria, whether it's a partial, whether it's severe roofing damage, or whether it's completely destroyed.
That's fantastic. And what about receipts? I'm sure you have these people who have the electronic cards, they must hold on to their receipts. Is that right?
Yeah, that'll be important for audit purposes and monitoring. And also there is a provision there for people who have spent money already, after the cyclone, to have their houses repaired. That is very good. I mean, we really appreciate, the efforts, this helping themselves basically,
Okay.
to ensure that there is proper shelter for their houses, for their homes.
Yes.
There's a provision there for a grant or a refund, loosely called, for a grant. There's a special form for it. It's available at the center. They can pick it up. They can then provide the necessary documents or receipts with it, and they can submit it to any of the social welfare offices.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really good, all this happening. I mean, like I said, this is the first to happen in Fiji after Cyclone Winston. I think that we've all learnt lots of lessons.
Exactly.
And just making sure this time around that everything is covered perfectly. Yes, and so is there anything else that you'd like the public to know about these cards?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the public for patience, that some of them have waited unexpectedly, because we found out they basically did not comply to the advice that we gave them.
Okay.
What we had done, Louise, was actually to cluster in the different groups, so that at a particular center, we would be looking at 300 to 400 per day. So we had mathematically did our modeling, so that will be the day's work. But you know what happens? We had it in Ra School, basically the whole of Ra probed into Ra High School, and that created chaos in that site.
Oh,
that created
dear.
chaos. So we had to operate up in the night. But those are realities we had to face. We had to serve them. And I know there was some disgruntled huts there, just a matter of cooling them off. But the assurance given by the ministry that we will serve and there'll be no one left behind. And we will ensure that this service comes to the closest to where you live. I think people were confused. They thought, for Taveuni, it'll be just at Nangara, so the whole of Taveuni converged on Friday, and there was a long queue there, right into the late hours of the night,
Oh,
when it was
dear.
meant just for Edata and Kamea.
Oh,
Yeah,
so these
so-
sort of things.
Yeah, so I appeal to the people, please listen in
Yeah.
to the announcements. They are set schedules set every day. Maybe I can ask you, Luis, just to announce the schedule
Yes.
that is here in front of us, that has been set for this week.
Okay.
Um,
So we've got here the district of Suva and the villages and settlement, which is the Lomaiviti group, Koro Island, Vanuatu Balavu. The center is the Fiji National Council of Disabled Persons Hall. So remember that. And in Tailevu, we've got Driti and Veilolo settlement, Loloma Levu settlement, and Nangingi settlement. Well, there's quite a few names here. And Nata Ndrandave, maybe I should get my glasses now. But anyway, we have also Luvu Navuaka and Dela Kando and Nata Leira and Vorovoro. Their place to go is the Dawasamu Primary School. And for Naitai Siri, it is the Wailiki Savu settlement. We've also got Namasi settlement, Koroto, and Rewasau village, and also Wainivesi settlement, Nasongo, Nangelewai, Waitavalai settlement, and also Vasia settlement, and the Tavutu settlement, Wainimasi settlement, and you are to go to the Nangelewai Community Hall. And for Ba, It's Maururu Namosau Tau Venga Venga, and also Vutuni, Wailangi, Korovatu, and Wailangi. You are to go to the Namosau Methodist School. This is in Ba. But Dr. Koroi Vueta, when are they required to go to these areas?
Okay, all the centers right around the country officially opened at 9 o'clock.
I see.
They officially opened, and we are there to serve them.
Yes.
And the official closing hours is 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's in full swing.
It's in full swing. And we have actually formulated the number of teams who's going to be there based on what is the expected population. But, when people come outside the catchment area, that's when chaos happens.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so we have to re-strategize.
Okay.
In that regard. So.
Well, I'm sure you will obviously have to face a few things like that. But we'll be back shortly on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And we have our guest in the studio today, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroi Vueta. But just a quick correction from me. Don't take any notice of what I told you about, the distribution center schedules. I have a new one. That was last week's one. But Dr. Koroi Vueta, you did mention that you faced a bit of problems where everyone was converging at that one center. So how can people find out exactly where to go, Dr. Koroi Vueta?
Okay, these schedules are published in the newspapers in all vernaculars.
Okay.
They also aired through all the radio stations in all vernaculars as well. And I just ask people, if they are not sure, to please call in to the assigned helplines, and also the officers are ready to discuss with them. And I think the numbers for the Hindustani program, I think it's been circulated out, but I can give it to Louise,
Yes.
who can add all the individuals with their mobile phone numbers.
Yes.
They stand ready to answer your call whenever the time would be, basically to ensure that all public inquiries are met.
Okay.
But the whole rationale of the initiative is that we are taking the service close to where people live, practically, as long as there's very good Vodafone's signal strength.
I see.
So one of the key determinants of which site we're going to use is where the connectivity is very good.
I see.
Because that will certainly enable faster processing. We know in Namosau there was weak signal strength.
Okay.
And by the end of the afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock, it was about 150. They were basically waiting for Vodafone simply because of the signal strength. Those are realities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that is for the ministry to sort out where are the best areas to have your centers.
With Vodafone.
Okay. All right. All right then. So, it continues the applications until which date does it close?
As it stands now, until the end of May.
Okay.
The card should be redeemed by the end of June. And I just wanted to advise the members of the public, please tune in very well to the information that are given, and please do not listen to some twisted information. I know on Saturday evening, I got a call, on Monday morning, I got a call from one of the Turani Koro that the community were waiting in the community hall, and that our team was supposed to be there, and this was 11 o'clock. And I said, Turani, your community was never scheduled for today.
Oh dear.
So please tell the community. So it was wrong information, basically.
Yeah, so that's something to really make sure on the right information. And as you've said, you can get it out of the papers,
Yep.
isn't that right?
Yep.
And selected numbers that you can call.
Exactly.
Because it's a waste of time.
Yep.
It's going to be a waste of time for the person going there, and also for those who are working for you.
We designed it, Louis, so that people do not wait. That's how we designed it. So that's why we had grouped them or clustered them according to the areas.
Right.
Because we were mindful of people waiting. We don't want the queues like they had in FNPF.
Yes.
You have in the hospitals, other, essential services. And we wanted people to have a very flow. In fact, when you go into the system proper, it only takes you 15 minutes.
If it's done all correctly,
Exactly.
and everyone knows exactly where they have to
Yeah.
go to, instead of all meeting at one place.
Right.
Oh, and anyway, but for those who applied, for the FNPF money, maybe for the 5,000 to rebuild their homes,
Yeah.
they're not eligible for this one, are they?
No.
Absolutely not, yeah.
The other thing is, we know how people have abused government benefits. That's reality. We cannot hide it. There were abuses of, what was given out during disasters. Obviously, the FNPF had abuses. I mean, you just have to put your ears on the ground and you can hear it. Even the benefits that we gave during this cyclone, we had a lump sum payout of 20.2 million, and then we had a food voucher top up of in the months of this month and also in June.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
All that extra money was given out. Yeah, I mean,
That's
for
all
help,
done,
yeah.
Complementary support, towards the welfare of the affected families.
Exactly, and well, yeah. So hopefully that this doesn't happen again. But they're definitely not going to get any more money, are
I
they?
think we've learned in a big way, and this is basically ensuring that the benefit given to people are given for an intention it was meant for.
Absolutely. Okay, so I mean, we are coming to an end. We don't have any more callers with any questions. So obviously you've covered everything. But maybe just one last great message to the listener for the Help for Homes initiative before we finish off.
Okay, I think this, I would just like to address people in maritime communities. This is for hardware materials to build your homes in your own communities. So it's not building home back into one of the squatter settlement in Suva or any other vagabond settlements. That's number one. And number two, you cannot use the purchase of these hardware materials to build outside your regional property.
Okay.
So people saying, I'm from Taveuni, I've lost my home, I do not want to go back to Taveuni, I've got a property up in Nandi, I want to build it there. I said, no, you cannot do that. So the guidelines are very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So keep it to that. And, well, we've just ended. I think I've just got one quick call before we finish. Hello, Gold FM. How may I help you? This is Speak Your Mind.
Mr. Luis,
Yes. Do you have a question for our guest, Dr. Corey Vueta?
sorry, no, Luis is someone.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll call it the end right now of the show. Thank you so much for your company on today's episode of Speak Your Mind. And it's wonderful to have our guest, Dr. Josefa Corey Vueta, to join us. Thank you indeed for coming.
Thank you.
Vinaka, you can join us again next week. That is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. See you then. Di Samo Demanda.